Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the United Scott live stream. Me and David are back to talk about Scotland. Thank you for coming back, David.
No problem. Hello, everyone. Hello.
We have a lot of things going on right now, don't we? Because since the last time we talked, there's been a lot of stories. A lot of occasions, and probably the end of the British government as we see it just now, isn't there?
Yeah. We've seen some pretty unprecedented events taking place. Some stuff you could never really have imagined happening until a few weeks ago, maybe. But it's been pretty much tumultuous times, I would say, and it's not over yet. So there's a lot more to come, I would suggest, in the next days and weeks.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think I've seen such turmoil. Well, from something that's happened in America to here. Because most of what's been going on in the United Kingdom, where we see that Sir Keir Starmer's Labour government going basically down under in the Starmer bunker, and the whole thing's just going to shit.
Yeah.
And when that's all going on, because this all comes from the Epstein files, and there's a lot of stories that's not just that. You've got Rupert Lowe's inquiry into the rape gangs. Now we actually get to hear about how bad this is. Something we don't even just have that to talk about. We've got Reform making a little bit of screw ups. We've got things in Scotland where basically they're doing what's the word? People could accuse them to not care about the Scottish ethnicity or Scottish people that much, but now they're really just promoting the fact that these new Scots, or someone who's Bangladeshi comes here is now Scottish, that idea, they're literally promoting that mainstream narrative, which is all happening simultaneously at the same time, and on election terms as well. And I would like to say the first thing that came up, which I think we should really talk about first, is the Labour Party in Scotland called for Alasawa. He called for Sir Keir Starmer to resign.
He did indeed. This, of course, came on the back of, as you say, yet more revelations about Jeffrey Epstein, and specifically in relation to Peter Mandelson, who had been, let's not forget, appointed by Keir Starmer as the United Kingdom ambassador in the United States, which was an incalculably stupid decision and almost bewilderingly idiotic decision, because Mandelson, there is no more discredited figure in UK recent political history than Peter Mandelson. And so how on earth anybody could have thought that was a good move, I really don't know. But as we all know, ever since July 2024, Starmer has acted like a rabbit in headlights in the role. He just doesn't seem to know what is going to happen next. He seems absolutely at the mercy of events, totally at the mercy of his very odd advisors and their completely barking mad suggestions. So maybe it shouldn't have been a surprise, but the fact was, when yet more revelations came out about Mandelson within the Epstein emails that were released a couple of weeks ago, it was clear then he couldn't possibly stay, so he went. Whereupon Starmer's Director of Communication, is it Tim Allen, he also went, and Morgan McSweeney went at the weekend. And it was just looking like like Starmer was falling apart. And yesterday morning, as we know, the leader of the Scottish Labour Party, Anna Sarwar, said, "I'm very sorry, the guy's a friend of mine, I like him very much, but we cannot go on like this. We cannot afford to have another 5 years of the SNP in Scotland just because of crazy decisions and poor judgments made by the Labour Party in Westminster. So I'm very sorry, but we need a change of leader." And so it's an almost unprecedented move for the leader of the Scottish Labour Party to call for the resignation of the Labour Westminster Prime Minister. This is something that certainly never happened in the devolution age. I can't remember any senior Scottish Labour or Conservative figure calling for the removal of a Prime Minister, apart from possibly Ruth Davidson, who detested Boris Johnson, as we know. But I think she waited until he was made Prime Minister and then left herself rather than called on him to leave. So it's not entirely unprecedented from that point of view, but very, very unexpected. And a lot of people reacted as if, oh my God, what's he doing? How can he do this? And so a lot of people in Scotland agree with him. A lot of people don't agree with him. A lot of people in Westminster, it seems, don't agree with him. And so there's been some very suspicious looking crocodile tears crying about, oh, poor Mr. Starmer. He gave us such a fantastic majority, and he's won us this. He's got this mandate, and why can't we just give him a chance? Well, the reason there's no point giving him a chance is because he has made an absolute mess of everything he's touched ever since he came into government, and he very much looks like he has no idea what to do next, and he looks like that all the time. So I think it's most commentators are of the opinion that he cannot last in the role. He's simply not cut out to be a prime minister. It comes out of every pore of his. He's not comfortable. He's not happy. He doesn't really know what to do. He looks terrible. He looks shaky. His hands have been literally shaking when he's been talking. This just can't go on. That's not statesmanlike. That's just dreadful. It's got to stop. You can't do this anymore. And of course, he's making Starmer and his conduct and his idiotic decision making and his appalling judgment. They're making every Labour politician in this country right now unelectable. So the time's just got to come eventually when you say, hang on a sec, we've got to cut the head off the monster here, really. Come on, you can't go on like this. So he will go at some stage, and that's unquestionable. It's just a matter of when. But as people are saying to me more and more, well, if he's going to go, what the hell's the point in him staying till May? And in so doing, guarantee that Labour will lose all these local elections, Scottish elections, Welsh elections, only for him to step down immediately afterwards anyway. So what's the point in that? So really, it's getting to the stage where Starmer's going to have to see the writing on the wall, a bit like Nicola Sturgeon did 3 years ago. She knew then that she'd reached the end. Nobody liked her. She was the most unpopular person in Scotland by a mile. People just couldn't stand listening to her anymore. She was closely involved with all that. What do you call that? What's the name of the police investigation into all this money stolen in the SNP? What was it called?
I forgot its real name, but
I can't forget. Is that whatever it's called? Anyway,
it wasn't just that. There was the trans thing as well. The woman
exactly.
There was the defining of a woman. That whole thing got fucked up from a feminist.
Yep.
It's like there was a lot of things that were just going to conclude her to the end. But I always said when that was happening, when that interviewer said, "This is the one way to kill a politician's career is to say how tired they look."
Yeah,
is the one thing, and you just saw the pillars drop after that for her.
Yep,
but does it matter for Sir Keir Starmer? Maybe not, because we see photos of him looking like absolute shit, and just to put it nicely. And I would say that I think the reason Alastair went as far, I agree with him. Like, it's weird. I have this confliction of I don't like the Islamic stuff he's on about, but I think when he says he cares about Scotland, he does. But there's a but. I know there's like multiple conclusions at once when I say this.
Yeah.
But I think the reason he said to get Keir Starmer out now is so they've actually got some fucking chance. So they have a chance to win something, because none of them are electable right now.
No.
And if you still have Starmer, which is hated by every group, apart from the government, and maybe that YouGov poll that came out with the 22% of people liking them, and I'm starting to figure out mostly 22%, that's the government.
Yeah,
maybe that's it. Yeah, that's the whole government. So the only people you can actually see on his profile, which is kind of funny, the ones that they was nice about on Christmas, the Home Office.
Yeah,
what were they good supporting of? The councils.
Yeah,
everyone in a government position, no matter what it is, they like the government because they're helping them. Just kind of like what they're doing in Virginia just now, but that's a different story. But I think they're just trying to save as much as their ass as they can.
Yeah.
Because I think Alastair can actually hold up himself when he gets the chance. But
yeah, I know you probably know this. I know Alastair. I've met him several times. Not because I'm in any way affiliated with the Labour Party, because truly I'm not. But I have met him, and as I've done so with Conservative politicians, because I do speak to pro-UK politicians in Scotland, both Westminster and Holyrood. I know.
How dare you?
A lot of people say that to me. Is he your pal? Yeah. He's somebody I know. Just come on, give me a break here. But he's a capable guy. I think he would be the best First Minister Scotland could have at the next election. Russell Finlay might be all right, but Russell Finlay's not going to win. We know. Malcolm Wofford's certainly not going to win. Alec Cole-Hamilton's not going to win, and thank God Ross Greer's not going to win. So that only leaves John Swinney or Anna Sarwar. Now, if it came to a choice of John Swinney and a rat down a hole, I would have trouble going against the rat, because John Swinney is utterly useless. I detest everything about that individual, everything. I don't see that to be unkind, pejorative, or in any way insulting. It's just, I think he's a truly dreadful politician and an even worse human being. I cannot stand anything about the man. So I will never want him to be the First Minister of this country for another 5 minutes, never mind for another 5 years. So from that point of view alone, I'd rather have Anna Sarwar in the role. Yes, he has done this. He's come out now almost in desperation to say, look, this is going nowhere right now. There have been too many bad judgments, too many bad decisions. We need a change. And they do need a change. The Prime Minister is floundering. It's clear he's floundering. He's at the mercy of events. He's not on top of anything. And it really can't go on. People in this country have been saying ever since July 2024, he's been a disaster. And if you look back to what happened in July 2024, the first big test he faced was the Southport atrocity, when that complete madman slaughtered 3 tiny little girls.
Yeah.
In an Ariana Grande dance thing. I mean, just a complete inadequate loser who decided that he was going to take out his annoyance in the world on these tiny little children. And Starmer, who was the new Prime Minister with a massive majority, he could have done anything he wanted. He could have reacted any way he wanted. What did he do? Did he react like a statesman? Did he react like a Prime Minister? No, he reverted to type, and he reacted like a fucking human rights lawyer, jailing people for talking about immigration. And I remember at the time thinking, you've just blown it, son. You've totally blown it. And he was effectively acted as if we were under a riot act, and people were being dragged out of their beds at 4 a.m, taken straight to custody and told, you're going to go appear in court in the morning, you better plead guilty or you're going to get double the sentence. And we're getting banged up for 3 years for saying whatever they said. I don't know. Some of them say it wasn't very much. Some of them say it was terrible things. I know some terrible things were said. I don't deny that. But that's what happened. And that was Starmer's first test. And I'll never forget the sight. One weekend, it was supposedly our UK First or something, some sort of right-wingish, patriotic type group of marches were planned. And they didn't take place because some rabble-rousing mobs came out, and left-wing guys, and they've pretty much stopped those other demonstrations taking place. And I remember this fat, smug, bald, bearded policeman appearing on TV on the Monday morning saying, isn't it great? We've got our country back. I just feel like we've won. I thought,
I forgot about him.
Do you remember? And this was like, you're sitting there smug, smirking, you fucking animal, when 3 young girls are dead. Fuck you. So, utterly appalling. I don't mean to swear and, take the tone down, but that's what I remember very well. So that was Starmer's first test, and he failed miserably. That's what happened. Now, after that, look what happened. Look what else happened. He'd stood by the waspy women, said he'd help them. That went straight out the window. Winter fuel allowance, we'll never stop it. He stopped it. And then he went back on. And you were just looking at this thing, thinking, this is absolute shit. All of this is this isn't politics. This is just dreadful. If he tried to do it badly, he couldn't have done a better job. It was appalling. It was excruciating. And you knew McSweeney was at the heart of it all. You knew he was. And now, of course, he's gone. So, really, the truth is, Keir Starmer is not a Prime Minister. Keir Starmer is a flop of a politician. He is no politician. He doesn't have a political instinct in his body. He's a big, stiff, robotic, odd-looking human rights lawyer. That's what he is. Nothing more.
He's always been a human rights lawyer.
That's exactly right. That's why everyone's good at something. That's what he's good at. Great, okay. But don't put yourself in charge of the country if you want to be a human rights lawyer. Go along to where these Palestine Action people are in jail. Go and take them in copies of Das Capital or something. I don't care what you do. Just please, just get out of Downing Street, because you, Mr. Starmer, you are stopping anybody beating the SNP next month. And it's because of your idiocy and your incompetence that Reform are as strong as they are in Scotland now, where they should never even be getting a kind look from anybody, because they're a disaster for Scotland. And the sad thing is, a lot of people think, oh, they could be the answer, you know. God, reform, my God, the Nigel Farage party. Is this really how low we've sunk? Honestly.
It's like there's so much to reply on that, because it's so true, though, isn't it? It's so true that you can't just say, no, maybe not. No, just fuck off with the apologies on this stuff. Like, it's without any doubt, Sir Keir Starmer's absolutely fucked up on everything.
Yeah.
Like, he is, because you were like, this all started at Southport when it was actually a Taylor Swift event that was going on.
I beg your pardon, I'm sorry. Yes, sorry.
No, it's fine. Because that cunt, Axel Ludwigana, you know, the Welshman that we were told to be careful of because he's a nice Welshman who stabbed those kids.
Yep.
We had to care about his feelings, had to care about the community that they were getting accused of more than our own. And you wonder why the country went to fucking mental, went so mad.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is the start of the Civil War. I don't want to call the wrong person here, but there was a guy who's been going down the university and the podcast saying about the Civil War we're going to end up having. This cunt, Starmer, is to be the reason why we're going to start war, because they are declaring war. This, like, what he's been doing, it's not he's just been stupid. That's too nice. He's not just been an idiot. He's been declaring war on the people. This is active war from governed to civilians. It is an active war. We've never had such an aggressive government who went after the people so hard. And I think when you wondered about those protests that were coming up and cancelling them, there was actually, I think that was because of Hope Not Hate, the government-funded organization that is funded by communists and funded by this party and, well, the UK government to make propaganda pieces, and they try to scare as much people as they can. So they did stop some people from going to these events, and two, they just made up a whole thing up where they were able to, you know, what do you call it, newspapers, they had the same picture of the same thing.
Yeah.
Same protest. That was all planned. That was all organized. That was all the same thing. And there was actually nothing ever organized for those days. But there was nothing planned, but those pictures were. And they're like, look, this is the UK. We're back together again. That's where that whole thing comes from. And it's like, you fuckers. Like, it's just like you literally are trying to start something you can't stop. And you wonder why you got people like Homeland getting popular, why you've Patriotic Alternative becoming popular, where they're like, I want to remove all foreign people, including anyone that we like, because they're just the wrong skin color. These people give them a platform because the legitimacies of the concerned citizens have no one to talk to. And it's all built up on the failures of them, the government.
Yeah, I mean that is, there's no doubt there's some truth in that logic. If you don't give people an outlet, or you deny people a voice when they have genuine concerns about whatever it is, be it the influx of people from abroad, which is a concern to people, whether certain bodies in the country think it should be, it is a concern, okay? And if you deny people even the opportunity to voice their concern, then it really is playing into the hands of people who will exploit those concerns, people who are Machiavellian perhaps. And so it's an extraordinarily foolish thing to do. If you write off everybody as far right, if they're concerned about our nation's children being slaughtered by the children of immigrants from Africa, if you dismiss them as far right, it's a bit like dismissing opponents of or supporters of Brexit of being racist, stupid northern working class racists, and then wondering why they don't vote for you. You can't do that. You can't just insult the population when they have concerns, because if you do, it will come back and bite you in the ass every single time. That's what happens. You cannot just dismiss people's fears and dismiss people's worries as far right or racist or any other handle you want to put on it, without making the situation far, far worse. And that's always been the case. And it's as if people still don't see it now. It's crazy, but that's the case. And so that is pretty much what happened. I think you're right. I think there was an element of that there. So anyway, so that just to go back to what we're talking about, that's why Starmer started becoming unpopular. And so it's gone on. And it's like he hasn't been able to keep a consistent line on any issue ever since. He's flipped and flopped. He has lost so many of his advisors. I'm told he has lost 4 communications directors, 4 in 18 months.
4. Jesus Christ.
It's quite unbelievable for somebody. And all these people are doing is saying, okay, this is what he's doing today. And that's the primary role of communication, is to say what the Prime Minister's doing and to come out with his schedule and whatever else. 4 of them have walked, and now his main advisor's gone as well. Yeah, he is. I think his main problem, from what I can see in Scotland, his main problem is, although a lot of his new MPs, particularly in Scotland, are actually quite good quality, Joni Reid, Alan Gemmell, Michael Shanks, these guys, they're all perfectly good. Douglas Alexander come back, he's a good guy. These are all quality people. But you look at his cabinet and you think, where's the quality there exactly? What's her name? Angela Rayner, David Lammy, Rachel Reeves. Stop me when I get to someone with talent, please. Bridget Phillipson, all the rest of them. You just think, they're shit, guys, frankly. I'm very sorry, but really.
They're not good.
No, exactly. They're not talent. They're not impressive. And so how is it that, and then of course, Mandelson gets picked as the ambassador for the US. Is it just because they've got some sort of CV? Is that what it is? You just look at what they've done in the past and think, oh, they're a big job. Miliband's another, of course. People aren't very good. What are you doing? There's so much talent you could pick from here. And that's why I think it will never really happen. Like some football managers have their favourites and they pick them come what may. That's what Starmer's like. And I don't think this will ever change. I don't think Starmer could, there's any set of circumstances which Starmer could mastermind or which Starmer could negotiate his way through that would make him popular or electable, or the party would make the party either popular or electable under him. The only thing that might work is maybe a war. Maybe that's what he's hoping for. Maybe he thought we were going to have another Falklands War or something, But
well,
let's hope not.
I bet he'd be hoping for war here.
Yeah, quite.
Because we see the government is wanting to go after the countryside too. I mean, that's a different thing, but just look at the man. Just look at him.
Look at him is absolutely right. Yeah, that's him. Look at that.
Just look at him. Holy shit.
How do you come back from that to being the man standing on the world stage as Britain's Prime Minister? I just don't see it at all. I do not see it at all. So, and this is why, if you ask me, do I back Anas Sarwar on what he said? Absolutely. It was a bold move. It was a very unusual move, very unorthodox move, but I absolutely back him. And good luck to him. I hope it works out. I really do.
Do you want to hear him say it, or do you not mind?
I've heard it, don't worry. I've heard it so often I can pretty much recite it to you, but I mean, I'm sure everyone else has heard it as well. So whatever you want, buddy.
No, it's just fine. I wasn't sure because although this is a tiny channel, I'm never sure what people want to hear because I haven't really covered UK politics in a while. So it's just trying to figure out what... just like, what do we talk about? Because, like, what exactly do we talk about? But we'd like to be talking about what we're trying to do here. This is why I called this a United Scots Stream Live, or United Scots Stream Live, whatever, it doesn't matter. Trying to get people who were in the conversation, trying to get them talking. And I thought we could get some people to be interested, but this is what the attempt are. We both kind of got into these spaces last week and found out something, didn't we?
Yeah, quite. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. And I'll just talk about that briefly, if I can, in the space last. I was listening to Space last week, and I had intended to contribute to it. I'm not going to say anything other than that. It was a space, and I listened to various participants and the type of input they were providing went along this sort of channel. So one guy came on and said, no, the SNP is going to win. And believe me, if they do win, then they're going to get a referendum. When they do get a referendum, they'll win it. And what's going to happen is we're going to end up independent, and then we're going to be back in the EU, just us. That was his contribution. And then another guy said, the thing is, we can't possibly vote Labour, so it's got to be reform. And another guy said, no, reform just don't convince me at all. So what we've got to do is vote Conservative. Right, this is in May. Yeah. And then a woman came on and said, the thing is, all we've got to do is we've got to vote for the party we like best, because if you vote for the party you like best, you'll get the party you like best. So if we all do that, then the SNP are so unpopular that they'll suffer huge losses. And I thought, I've got to turn this off. I'm not at kindergarten. This is not 5-year-olds' playtime, okay? Can we just stop this? If you ever want me to get involved in a space, for God's sake, do some quality control of what is coming into it, because that was just utter horse shit. Every single word of it was rubbish. So I thought, no, I can't do this. And this is 3 months out from an election, and you've got people saying, you vote for the party you like best, you'll get the party you like best. Jesus Christ. No, can you just stop?
And I would like to say to people that this was a pro-UK or Scotland UK, looking like my background there account. And I get it. Spaces are hard to look after. They're hard to control. Some things are trying to understand what's going on. Not everyone's knowledgeable. We both know our own things in certain aspects. That's why I asked you to maybe help in other videos that you know more about stuff than I do.
Sure.
And I found it this is the one thing I would say United Scots are people, just to get out of the unionist versus nationalism tone that's been used against us. I call United Scots to say people who want Scotland to be better, just by default. That's why I use that term, just to get out of it. But I always, these people that were talking, there wasn't just one space I was listening to, because I bet you only listened to some of it.
Yeah.
And I continued listening to the end. And I'm like, this is dire. Yeah. They were like, we have no opportunities left. We don't know what to do. Scotland's once it gets to the end of the May, SNP end, Scotland's gone forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I just fucking surrender now. Then I'm gonna move to Hull. Then fuck this. Just fuck this whole plan. Then. Basically.
Exactly. And the point that I would make is, and this is not being critical of the guy who was running space, genuinely not at all. Not at all. You can't be responsible for what everybody says in a space. But I get that. But I would have thought there would have been at least some pushback, to be honest, some stuff, because just to reiterate what my objections, if you think yourself the type of person who can contribute to a space, and you're going on there saying something as utterly imbecilic as, if you vote for the party you like, then you'll get the party you like, then frankly, you need to take up a different hobby, because you don't know what you're talking about. If you look at any first past the post election, you vote for the party you like, and everybody does that. The party who's highest in the opinion polls will win, and they'll win big. That's what happens. If every single person votes for the party they like best, and you've got 7 or 8 people standing, one party will win, and it's the party that's in the lead in the opinion polls, okay? So let's just get that clear, all right? The fact that you don't like that party and you like another party and you like everyone else to vote for them, that means nothing, because it's not going to happen, okay? Not going to happen. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is, the SNP will not get another independence referendum. So please stop talking about it as if they will, because they're not. They won't. The problem is not independence with the SNP. The problem with the SNP is they will impose another 5 years of utter, insane political choices on the people of Scotland, along with your friends in the Green Party. Because as things stand, the SNP and the Greens together will win a pro-independence majority. So again, that's not to worry about independence, because they're not going to get the opportunity to tear the country apart ever again. But the problem is they will apply their fanatical Marxist left-wing fantasy politics, totally woke, net zero, anti-nuclear, pollutant fuels,
just everything.
Everything. Just anti-business. 20 miles an hour speed limits everywhere, bike lanes everywhere, cars not allowed anywhere near cities, all this complete shit. That's what they'll do. That's the problem in Scotland. Meanwhile, thousands of people here will carry on dying from drug abuse while the SNP are giving them free heroin. And just think, hang on. Really, guys, is nobody else seeing this? Really, is nobody else seeing what's going on here? You still carry on phoning up the doctor at 8:30 in the morning. It'll be engaged for 25 minutes, and eventually they'll say, "Sorry, we've got no appointments. Call back tomorrow." That's what will carry on in Scotland for the next 5 years if we go on like this. I guarantee it. Now, it's nothing to do with independence. People say to me, "I don't know why you're bothering about the SNP. They won't get independence." I know they bloody won't. That's not the point. The point is they're absolutely incompetent, and we've got to stop them before they destroy Scotland as any type of place to live. That's the problem, really. And meanwhile, you've got this backdrop of, "Oh, if only we were independent, everything would be better."
I know, magic pill, the magic reality pill.
Yep.
It's like independence will solve everything. Oh, really? Because you don't live in a fucking reality. I bet you all, like, this is my gripe with all these people. These seem to be people who are very well off. They're not like me who can't really afford stuff every week.
That's right.
I'm stuck to do a job that makes me driving up doing the country, give all these free bus pass people stuff to do, including refugees and so on, and very wealthy people who have the 60k thousand houses that I can't even afford to get one flat, the equivalent of the same thing. But these people have the knowledge and the information to tell me how an independent country can go, but they want to join another union. They don't even know what the fuck they're on about.
Exactly.
Let alone the fucking common sense
to
talk about anything next to the subject.
Absolutely right. And so
it's just and then that's just beyond everything else they're actually doing.
Yep. Listen, you're right. They're talking about stuff they clearly don't understand. And this is my frustration. This is what I was getting at earlier. My frustration with listening to a lot of the podcasts that you used to hear and the spaces that we still sometimes hear is the quality of debate is so low. And I was watching Newsnight last night. The quality of debate on Newsnight last night was absolutely terrible. You did, I don't know if you ever watched Newsnight, but last night you had a Labour guy was on, more or less defending Keir Starmer and saying, look, you know, he's got a majority and, you know, he's got a mandate and all this stuff. And there was sorry, I'm actually listening to it. It was a woman saying all this stuff. There was a Conservative guy slagging off Keir Starmer, and the Labour woman, her answer was to grab him by the arm and say, "Look at me," and say, "Liz Truss, tell me that Liz Truss was wonderful." And that was her answer.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Exactly, that was it. And she's literally shaking the guy by the arm with both hands, saying, "You look at me. You tell me Liz Truss was wonderful." This is BBC Newsnight. And you've got some woman sounding like an old Jakey grabbing a guy by the arm, talking about Liz Truss. What the hell was Liz Truss got to do with anything? So honestly, it was dreadful. And this is the problem. We've got to stop this because we are sleepwalking into 5 more years of John Swinney asking 14-year-old girls, "Have you had it up the arse?" That's what we're going to get in Scotland, because that's exactly what we've got in Scotland right now. And that's what we'll continue to get. And I'll say something else. You remember Anna Sarwar had got all that trouble for a speech he gave where he said, we want not only our people from Southeast Asia to be, or South Asia, whatever, to be more involved. We want our people to have more of a say in what our children are taught in schools. That's what he was talking about. He was talking about bloody sex questionnaire. He wasn't talking about Pakistani might or anything like that. Absolute lies. That's what he was talking about. And that's why people are so angry with him, because he was calling out something that the SNP does, which is fucking evil. Under the guise of what? Being concerned for children. They're saying, so have you had anal sex? Have you? Go on, you can tell me, go on. And I'm like, for fuck's sake. And you're asking 14-year-old children this. You fucking perverted bastards. Fuck off. Seriously.
This is where I get the words embarrassed to be Scottish.
Yep.
Like there's a standard of Britishness that I'm like, okay, we're okay with this. Because there's a lot of backup to it. But if defining myself to be Scottish is 1, hate everyone that's not me, or 2, telling kids what anal sex is, the ages of 9, which is the ages where my youngest of the family come in, and it's like you're teaching how 9-year-olds should have anal sex.
Jesus.
That's in SQA, Scottish Education Form, of how to have anal sex, or what's the right word and right terminology. This is the shit that we ignore
Yeah.
because you just don't like the other side talking.
Yeah.
Like we've driveled, like, for a start with one about Eunice, but for me, this now is just general. Like, I am so sick and tired. This is why I cleared this whole stream thing, because everyone's welcome to come on. I did send
Yeah.
a link on X if anyone wants it. See if they want to get their head in, if they can. It's so frustrating because
It is, yeah. It is. It is frustrating. What's happening is there are two things happening in the main. You get people who are coming across as being politically aware when they're really politically illiterate, and they're making pronouncements on the basis of their total lack of any knowledge, whatever. And that I find that frustrating. The quality debate, as I said, is equally frustrating. But what's going to be the outcome of all of this is an almost certain outcome, an certain result, which is completely unnecessary in Scotland in May. And I'm going to do everything I can to stop that. I've said that from the start. Half of me is tempted to say, you know what, the whole fucking lot of you, I'm going to leave you to it. Okay, if you really want an SNP government so bad, don't let me stop you. Good luck. Because you know that there are going to be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in Scotland waking up on May the 8th going, I don't understand. I never saw this. And SNP's won how many seats? 67. My God, I didn't know that. I thought reform. I thought if we voted reform, we'd get reform. That's what's going to happen. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
There's a lot of people now that definitely do think that. And I think people just need to fucking wake up to the coffee a little bit.
Yep.
They need to wake up to the coffee.
Yep.
Like, there's only a certain part of me that can actually just respect this whole show, because no matter what happens now, sorry, here in the mic, whatever happens now is just a continuous basis of people not doing stuff and just acting shocked when things keep happening more. Like, it just keeps going and you act shocked and you act like, I think the worst place I see this is Facebook, where it's literally just the comments. Independence will solve everything. Independence will solve anything. Because you just hate the English so fucking much, it's going to fix everything. But it's like you're allowing, like, your delusion of your pride, or whatever the fuck it is, your Highland believe Braveheart fantasy of the S&P are amazing. Actually, I wasn't going to show this, but fuck it, I'm going to have to show exactly this problem. There was this is exactly, if you just give me a second.
Yep.
Like I say, I just blame people. People say I shouldn't be blaming people. I'm like, well, who controls the ballot boxes? Who allows things to happen? Yes, the government has an aspect to it, but there's people as well. People have the influence of how things happen. And I would ask, if you had any opinion about government, what would you say? They're good? A government. Would you trust them?
As in Westminster government or Holyrood government?
Just the government.
The government generally. I would find it very difficult to trust the motivation of any government, given my analysis, my exposure to various governments over the last at least 10 years. Yes, I'd find it very difficult to trust their motives intuitively.
Yes, and this part of the coffee has not been sent to everyone in Scotland, because I always find Scotland is the last to find out any information.
Yeah.
Just like this Alex Williamson idiot. I said the SNP are scum as well, because these people on the STV News was talking about how bad the Westminster government was, or how Keir Starmer was.
Yeah.
And the fact he said how, he says SNP are scum as well. That's what I said. He says how. I said exactly the problem. They are the government. Who right now fucking trusts the government? Does anyone in America trust the government? No. Does anyone in Germany? No. Does anyone in France? No. They had a few revolutions to conclude that message.
Right.
And Do they have them in Holyrood? Oh, they seem to think they're trustworthy, do they? Just because they're the government doesn't mean they are bad, he says. The blanket statement of anti-government has no benefit. Oh, so I guess the Keir Starmer's okay then? By default.
Well, absolutely. If being in government doesn't automatically make you bad, then you can't just say he's bad because he's a PM. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's this is the stuff I'm on about. I don't know how to get through to these people, and they only live up here.
Yeah. Listen, you've the same frustration as I have. And to be honest, it was the same as 18 months ago, or just before the 2024 general election. There were people who were supposedly little political powerhouse groups and all that. And I remember talking to them, thinking, "You guys are just conservatives. You're just conservative fanatics, and you're deluding yourselves that the Conservative Party can win this election when it's going to get its arse handed to it on a plate, and you're just making up a load of rubbish. Seriously, there's going to be tactical anti-Conservative voting all over, certainly England and Wales. I guarantee it. There might even be an element of it in Scotland. There wasn't really. It's more an anti-SNP tactical voting in Scotland, but that's what happened. So I just thought, this is pointless. What's the point of me listening to you guys? You just haven't got a clue. It's just wishful thinking. And so much of what you do here is wishful thinking. It's people saying, reform's the answer. That's because they're members of Reform. That's why they're saying it. Not because they're being coldly analytical. They're just saying, no, I like Reform. So I think Reform's going to win because I like Reform. So what? It doesn't matter what you like. This is about who can actually win the election. And, you know, the fact that Reform is showing that it might be in second place in some seats, their analysis of that is, well, that means the best place to win it then. No, it means the best place to come second. It means they can't win it. No, that's not right. Because if we all get behind them, if we all get behind the fucking Girl Guides and they field a candidate, they'd win it too. So but it doesn't matter because it's not going to happen. And so the point is, there's no benefit to anybody in carrying on conversations with people who frankly aren't going to listen. We're better off just not bothering. We're better off just saying, look, doing some billboard campaigns or something and saying, if you want the SNP out, this is what you got to do. If you don't want the SNP out, you're happy for your daughters and granddaughters to be asked about where men have put their penises in their bodies, then carry on and let the SNP get in there, and I guarantee that's what your granddaughters and granddaughters will be asked. If that's what you want, you crack on, seriously, and be proud. But I'm seriously so close to just saying to the whole damn lot of them, good luck, do it, seriously.
And just, it's maddening.
Yeah, it's maddening.
It's maddening, it's tiring.
Yep.
And why am I looking at that? Well, there was a reason I was looking at that, but to probably put a positive swing on things before we get absolutely fucking raging again.
Yeah.
Not that. Let's see. We do have people standing up. So we're not just talking to ourselves here. We do have people like Stephen Lenny who've decided to continue their protests. Are you aware of Peterhead United?
No.
This was an event that happened last year. I did do my own recordings on the whole event, which was actually kind of good. I might share it if I'll put it on silent, but there's this guy called Stephen Lenny. I interviewed him on my podcast show, on the Not podcast, where he started a movement. First was in Peterhead, which was actually, I think they got 100 people to talk about anti-SNP and anti-Labour. And this is actually the main subject. We talk about the kids getting taught how anal sex works.
Yeah.
Main of the subjects was that, refugees, so on. And this is the part where I lose my shit sometimes. But I remember there's a video where I put thingy of flags. It doesn't matter what one it is, but there was a guy speaking in the background saying they were teaching kids how to do the thing. And just before I cut it off, there was the anti-refugees welcome lot behind me say, this is old woman in her 50s. She says, oh, they're old enough to know that. They're old enough to be taught that. And me and the older guy were just about to lose our shit. Lucky there was a Bobby behind us.
Wow.
And she was like, this is Peterhead, north of Scotland. This is the fishery industry, which is also another problem itself.
Sure.
And it was like it was so openly. They were like, "Yeah, they're old enough to learn how anal is. Then what's the problem there?" These are people that we live with. Anyway, this got the Peterhead United protest was actually. Should I be showing that? Would you like to see the background of some of that before I talk about this?
Sure,
Well,
whatever.
yeah, it would just play in the background and nice and quiet. But um, I'll just say this one now. Stephen Lenny, I'm promoting you here. So Stephen Lenny is the man who's been trying to get these protests going. He's been going around all the northeast villages and towns trying to get probably something that's very unique to what's going on. Well, I don't think we've ever had like anti-migrant pro UK like stalls and things like that in Scotland, do we? We don't really get that. This is kind of thing we
Anti-migrant pro
see.
UK, no, and in Scotland, no, no. I wouldn't say
No,
we do, no.
no. Well, he's been doing that for the last, I'd say, half 6 months. And the
Right.
latest one they've got, yeah, they might not get a lot of people because it's very new. Like this whole thing, which I said to him, the idea is very new, and the latest one is going to be the 14th of February in Inverness. So
Okay.
and the last time they were there, it was just before they shut down that immigration camp or the one in the military base. So there are people out there who are trying to do the good fight that we feel like there's nobody talking about. But I feel like the problem is we don't give ourselves enough credit, or well, it's mainly because we keep fucking each other over.
Yeah,
But
true.
and we got this event here that's going to be in Inverness. The last time they were on, they had quite a lot of people that was actually. I wonder if you could actually see how much people were there, because I'm kind of going to promote someone I didn't want to promote, but doesn't matter. You had Craig Houston; he was up there.
Yeah, yeah.
He was up there. There was actually S. Was it S.A. Spartan? He was there. There's a good few people. I'll put that there into quiet. There we go. No, don't want to get copyright. Avoid that.
Copyright infringement.
Yeah, avoid that altogether. So they've been able to get these little protests going, and I think they were one of the voices actually get people to stop, supporting whatever the government's been doing, the UK government and the SNP, and this is just kind of what they promote. Stop the grooming gangs, all that kind of stuff, the Greens and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Craig Houston was there, S.A. Spartan was there. There was actually a good few speakers there, and they got a good 100 people that was there in Peterhead, which is new. And I'll just say that it's good to see people that's still doing it. They went out. Well, here's the. You half saw it in those pictures. If you saw it there, you had the truth up there. I believe that's him.
Yep.
Yeah. You had a few of these other guys. They're sound enough. Then I don't have any issues with them. They did an actual anti-SNP protest outside of the SNP conference, and they got was it Sarah White from the Advanced Party to come up here, which was, I believe that was correct.
Right.
I was like, okay, they're actually doing something here. This is not bad. And although there was maybe more flags than there were people, there's still a group of people that you couldn't actually go down and say, that's a bunch of fascists, that's a bunch of racist bigots. We don't want to be part of them, because that one there is outside these two, all these are outside the conference. So there was actually someone outside, trying to compete against the SNP and say, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So there is pushback in some sort of form. And I just kind of want to highlight that because there he is, Spartan. Because Steven's just trying to get something that, normal guy. He's just trying to get something to work, and
Yeah, sure.
it's just interesting.
Yeah, fair enough. Like anybody who stands up, anybody who's in any way anti-SNP is always going to get my backing. That's for sure. So certainly on that level anyway. So yeah, for sure, good.
And this is one of the and this is one of the other pro-UK demonstration against Labour and the SNP.
Yeah, listen, I get this, and this is where I disagree. Not fundamentally, but we diverge. People like me and them. I get completely the feeling that Labour and the SNP are both left-wing parties. They're not helping Scotland. I understand that. I'm not into left-wing macroeconomics at all. Never have been. I don't believe it works. Don't believe it'll ever work. If you look at any country which has deliberately followed socialist policies, eventually they always go wrong. Always. As Thatcher said, the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. That's the problem. That is the problem. So, on a macroeconomic level, as in taking a place on the world stage, you cannot do that and be a successful economy if you're a socialist economy. How many socialist economies make money? Venezuela, Russia. Come on, guys, seriously, let's get real here. No. So the problem is in Scotland. Scotland is almost cocooned from all of this because for decades, over 100 years, Scotland has been a lot more than that. In fact, hundreds of years. Scotland has voted in parliaments in Westminster, and they voted in the Scottish representation, so representatives. They've been saved from the harsh economic reality of voting the way that they might want to vote by the fact that English people tend to vote a little more in tune with their heads than their hearts, is the truth. So really, this has only been the case for 70 years, just over 70 years, that Scotland has always voted a particular way. And the reason I say that is the last time that Scotland voted for a party that was centre-right and gave them more votes and more seats than any other party was in the general election in 1955. So that's the last time Scotland voted for a Conservative party or right centre-right party. Ever since then, the winner of every election in Scotland has either been the Labour Party, as it was in every election up until whatever it was, 2007. Since then, it's been the SNP in every election up until last year, up to 2024, when the Labour Party won again. So Scotland votes Labour or the SNP. And that's not because we don't get the vote out and we don't get enough people out there in the street and we don't have grassroots campaigns. It's because 70% of the vote in probably 80% of the seats goes to either the SNP or Labour. So while you can stand there all day saying, let's not vote Labour and let's not vote SNP, you are literally wasting your breath because Scottish people are going to vote for one or the other. And come May, either the SNP or the Labour Party will win the election. Reform won't, not a chance. Conservatives won't, not a chance. That's the fact. So what I won't do is, fart against thunder. There's no point. There is no point. There's no point just pretending that black is white and that 2 and 2 equals 17. There's no point. So I won't do that. If you don't like the Labour Party, that's very interesting. I understand why you don't like them. But in Scotland, there's a political reality and it's not going to change. It's not going to change by May. It's not going to change by the next general election either. People in Scotland, in the main, will vote SNP stroke Labour in well over 60 to 70, to sometimes 80% of the votes cast in up to 70 to 80% of the seats. And that is a fact. Now, you can say, reform's going to change all this. Are they? Nigel Farage is going to change all that, is he? Nigel Farage personally is going to make Scotland a centre-right party because of what? Stopping the boats. Immigration. That's going to do it, is it? That's going to stop people in Paisley and Dumbarton and Coatbridge wanting handouts and preferring not to work. Stopping the boats is going to change that. It's going to make them get up and get on their bike and find work and contribute to a burgeoning, growing economy. What a load of horse shit. None of that's going to happen. So you've got people pushing completely fake narratives about what we need and what's going to happen because reform's going to change everything. It's going to get Britain back on its feet and it's going to make Scotland wealthy, the wealthiest part of this nation. No, it's fucking not. None of that's going to happen. I guarantee it. None of that is going to happen. Not one single bit of that's going to happen. And it's because mainly of demographics and it's because of who lives in these places and what their life aspirations are. And that's the truth.
Yeah. And I would probably quickly add there, not living in reality, a lot of people do. And one of those people is the Alba Party. The people that are so popular, I forgot who they were. That's how popular they are.
Waste of space.
Really, it is. And here's the thing where they shared recently, Scottish independence must top the political agenda, and bloody blah. That got how much millions? How much millions of likes? Oh, 51. Okay, let's just ignore that.
Yeah.
And you had Ian here who pointed out the big fucking obvious thing. Sorry for swearing, but this is the reality of what people feel is most important. And between the parties as well. The economy, health, immigration, housing, education, the EU, tax, crime, and then the constitutional future.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Seems to be only popular more with the SNP lot than it is with all the other parties.
Absolutely right.
I've not even talked about the rest, but how much things did I say before all that?
Before you got to Constitution, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
before the Constitution and everything. It's like there's so much things. Even if I say Britain leaving the EU, like I would actually call that as a what do you call the word? Transportation and the logistics question.
Yeah, right.
Or a economic. What's the word? I'm sorry.
Facilitation. People. There you go. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, like people care more about logistics and that stuff. They do care about their relationship with the English.
Yeah, come on.
And I'm fed up of denying it. And there's a party that seems to be for it. Yeah. It's like, okay, go and split up your own vote. So we really should be quite happy with what we have.
Yeah, quite.
We should be happy with all those choices.
I mean, Alba, let's be honest, talking to them specifically, Alba was a salmoned vanity project because he felt sore at being pretty much turfed out of the party he had led and had taken to greatness and taken to close the brink of a possible surprise in the independence referendum. He was slung out because whether he either did or did not do it, he was accused of doing some naughty stuff with an awful lot of women. And it was almost unprecedented for anybody to be accused of so many crimes by so many different people, which were all seemingly identical crimes, and they didn't appear to have colluded with one another, yet he still was cleared. So it was something was highly dodgy in that whole situation. So either the people were all victims of mass hallucination, the very same dream, or else, dare I say, maybe they colluded with one another, or else he just lied and the jury believed him. Don't know. Something happened, but it's almost impossible for 14 people independently of one another to complain about the same problem with the same guy, and he gets off with all of them. How does that happen? So anyway. But because it happened, and he felt that the SNP hadn't helped him, he thought, right, fuck you then, I'm going to start my own party. And while he was there, it was a possibility of being something. But the fact is, if you become known as a politician who's too handsy, touchy-feely, and kissing women and cuddles in the bed, come on. Nobody's going to vote for that, you filthy old bastard. Just go home, join a bowling club, do something useful with your life. Just stop it, all right? Just don't stand for election, because you're not going to get elected. And of course, he never did. And he ended up ended up dying after struggling to get the top off a ketchup bottle. What a way to go, for God's sake. Honestly, but of course, by that stage, he was morbidly obese anyway. It was always going to happen one day. Anyway, and as soon as that happened, Alba finished. Absolutely finished. Alba is absolutely nothing in Scotland. It never will be. Never will be. You can ignore everything they say because it means absolutely nothing. Nothing. Not a word.
Yeah. And there's something else that popped up about I don't really want to drag the independence thing, but I need to get people to understand what kind of people we're dealing with. We're dealing with an absolute deluded cult who thinks one thing's important above all else. And you just saw a poll where people don't seem to believe that. But, let's get some facts and evidence. Remember the ex-expert of the S&P, of the finances? Do you remember this fella? I forgot his name. His name's not showed up on here, but he used to be the ex-finance expert. Actually, would it be on there?
Oh, I've seen the guy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. His name's Blythe or something like that. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you should listen how he words this for the economy.
Peripheral part of a small free trade, a mid-sized free trade zone called the United Kingdom. So on the one hand, I fully understand the desire to be separate, but the idea that this isn't going to hurt, you can't really say that Brexit's the worst thing ever and then commit the biggest Brexit of all time, which is literally what this is. So if you're going to think about this being independent, you have to think very sensibly about what that means and how you're going to develop income generating assets to pay for stuff. Why? Because at the end of the day, as a small open economy, which you then will be, you need to balance your imports and your exports over the long term, or everyone thinks your currency is shite. And at that point, they prefer payments in British pounds, and then you get a run on your foreign exchange, and you get a mini Argentina on your hands. So just because you're independent and you can print bits of money doesn't mean anything if you don't have things to back it up. Think about one of your most famous sectors is whiskey. Question for you: who owns it? It is a French luxury group and about 5 American investors.
There you go.
Right. So basically, you kind of have to have a growth model that is able to generate these incomes and has these assets. And then we can talk about what that would be like in a future scenario. When you don't even really know what that is and how it's going to work, then that's a flight into fantasy. I'm just too old to do fantasy economics.
And that's from the S&P expert.
Heard that before. Outstanding.
I think that's actually new.
As I said,
that's a new clip.
Really
Sorry. I think that's actually a new clip altogether. It's like
brilliant. What's it? Does it give his name there?
No, it doesn't. It's a bit annoying because I shared it a long time ago. But
I'll find it. On your. You put it on Twitter, yeah? I'll find it.
It's a good quite bit down, to be fair.
No worries.
Yeah, it's there. So just putting that nail in the coffin there, just before
exactly.
we talk about other things.
He's right. We don't own the whiskey. We don't own the oil. Can we just stop this? We don't own any of this stuff. And all this crap about we should have lower energy because we've got all this these natural resources. Well, we don't have free whiskey. We have the most expensive whiskey in the country, in the UK. That is because of the fucking SNP's policies on alcohol pricing. So just
it's not Trump's fault. It's not Trump's fault.
Absolutely right.
They like to blame Trump. The orange man is bad.
Exactly.
Syndrome, stupid fuck. Sorry, but we don't have the idea of fossil fuels either because someone must accelerate the move away from fossil fuels. Who said that?
Yes, guess who?
Remember that everyone at COP27? When we couldn't move anywhere, but the millionaires could move around Glasgow. Please shut up. And
here.
And what else did they? This is what I actually found quite interesting in one of those spaces we were on mentioning before. This is one. It was on Patriot. Who owns the Highlands?
Yeah.
Who owns the Cairngorms? A Danish billionaire. Not us.
It's true. That's well known. It's true. This is not just a fantasy. He actually does. Yeah, it's true. He owns so much of it. It's true.
Not Blair. And who owns it? Him and a Saudi Arabian prince, which I've somehow lost. And it's like, okay, I don't know why that's happened, but yeah. So it's just kind of like, okay, so that's completely screwed. So, but I suppose we know how bad it is, and I think the people now actually do see how bad things are.
Yeah.
And I know something that's quite interesting. I'm not the social media expert. What screen am I looking at? This one. Because if we go onto X, which I believe this is the first time we've ever seen this, that the social media presence of the S&P account is quite dropped.
Oh, so it's on the move for a sec.
Yeah. So we have the main S&P account. Now, I think this is the first time ever since Elon Musk has came on to change how he owns Twitter. We've never actually had an election up here where we could see where all the accounts come from. We could see where the most of the bots start dying out. Those are land bot farms that you and Mark are looking after. Those things, Jake, Suzanne of Pakistan origin, but they're so Scottish you couldn't tell the difference. But Singh, the people who just don't support anything the SNP say on their social media has dropped a lot. Because
Yeah.
I swear to God, the following was not 313,000 before.
Really?
I swear to God, it was never that high before. I mean, it was never that low.
No.
I think we're looking at maybe 300, maybe, I'm just estimating, 300,000 leave.
Interesting.
And if we look at John Swinney's post, this just for whatever.
Yeah.
For the sake of it.
Yeah.
This post, he's on about the passing the wealth building law. Don't care about that. It's got 331. That's this next one, retweet, 336. This one about Arasawa, that's only got 824 because that's a bigger story, which is fine.
Yeah.
John Swinney, 940. We're not reaching the 1K yet.
No.
The Audrey Nichols saying something. Chaos, Arasawa, it's 135. John talk about the Clyde, talk about this. So let's just jump a good. Well, Unite Under Independence by Alex Kerr, 155. That's not Scotland talking, I believe.
No.
Angus Robertson, 291. Not a big number.
No.
And then there was this stupid thing they did with the advert gone in so many days.
Yeah.
66 on their main account.
Static.
It's like, are you being stupid here?
Yeah, quite. Yeah.
Here's the one of the A9, just under the 500 mark, which is another problem itself. It's just like, even John Swinney's one nearly got 1,000. But the retweets aren't going far. Look, here's your local Tom Arthur for the SNP candidate, 137. Absolutely dismissal. Who is this? It's irrelevant. I swear to God, Thomas Kerr gets more.
Goodness me, that's saying something. Wow.
It is. It's not really much to say, but I wonder if the Scottish government, Jesus Christ, the Scottish government account's even worse. Okay. That's 136, so 63,000 people following that. I thought that was your fantastic government. Oh, well, the Scottish vote for the community welfare bill. 103 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain. How much likes? 3.
Not too stellar, is it really?
No, it's like you always tell how the sway people actually are on the social media platforms. Not to say everyone who speaks on social media speaks for everyone, because that's a misconception everyone likes to do. Because I feel like everyone thinks because they're on Twitter, they're all talking to everyone. No, you're talking to a very specific amount of people. Because if you try this on Facebook, you're going to get all the trolls. Like you get, same with all the, like you're going to get the untapped market that's never there. Instagram has a bias filter. That's why my comments are probably not seen by other people because there's an actual filter mark. X doesn't have this thing at all, and it's just like, oh God. Scotland EU flag 8 likes, like irrelevant. Are they even worth talking about here? Not really.
Nope.
No. Oh God, not this shithead again. We could talk about this.
Never mind. It's fine. It's fine.
No, it's like just to move on to subjects. Is just trying to think of what I'm just jumping stuff now. I'm telling.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Just pick one more, and I'm gonna cut off because I've got people I've got to speak to tonight. But it has been very interesting to talk and to rant a little bit because the frustration is not going away, and the danger is not diminishing either. And we cannot allow people who don't understand what they're talking about to set the agenda here in terms of the pro UK side prior to May, and that means we can't. These people who keep saying, "Oh, Scotland's fucked, wait, forget Scotland, Scotland's fucked, fucked." SNP's going, no, I'm not having that. Neither am I going to have. Nobody in the Scotland's worth voting for, except maybe Reform. I'm not having that either. Just don't give me that shit. And then other people say, well, there's no point voting. Nobody deserves my vote. I'll vote for the candidate who I like best in terms of, do I think he has integrity? Honestly, guys. Seriously.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah,
there's a lot of work. And
Indeed.
One person I would like to just mention this finally, not talk about anything else, is this Malcolm? Is that his
Malcolm
name?
Wofford, yes.
Yes. So he did a thing on STV to talk about the Scotland reform policies. I still don't know what the policies are.
No.
Because they had a conference, never live streamed anything. So
That's right.
I still have no idea what the fuck they are. So this was my only evidence. And I asked a few people, have you heard what their policies are? Because they apparently told everyone what their policies were. And I'm like, I'm not taking the word of the media to when there's a conference there. Like, do you really want me to take the words out of someone else's mouth to make it work for you?
Right.
And it's like, there's a certain aspect to where this conversation can work. But I want to let people see, and have you watched this at all?
Yeah, I've seen this. Yes. On STV,
Yeah. So this was on STV News, but I would say the one thing is watch how he lets the interviewer dominate the conversation.
Really?
Listen to what he does. Like, just you notice when there's a weak person, they allow someone to tell them what to say.
Yep.
When he's asked about the environment stuff, which is very quickly in, he should say not the low emission things, maybe the first two times. But if there's something you want to win the Scottish people for, or any people, ULEZ.
Yep.
And I'll say ULEZ over the time, just like if it's something with the scrap, ULEZ. Just let's listen to him.
Okay.
Malcolm Wofford, this was your first big leader speech. What was your big message?
It's time to grow the economy and make Scotland prosperous.
You made a big announcement on cutting income tax. How are you going to do that?
Well, we have to do it.
But how are you going to do it?
No, we have to do it. Let's work out why we have to do it.
Well, tell me how you're going to do it.
I'll tell you how we're going to do it, but we have to do it because we have to grow the economy to create wealth to pay for public services. The way to do it is to invest in the people who grow the economy, and that's the 2 million people who work in the private sector who need to be incentivized to work harder, longer, and get back to growing their businesses, expanding their businesses. That's why we have to do it.
Who's going to save the most out of that? It's going to be rich people like you, isn't it?
It's not about rich or poor, Colin. It's about creating prosperity where people create prosperity for the benefit of everybody. And productive citizens need to be incentivized to get out there. Right now, every business owner I speak to is not expanding their business. They're battening down the hatches. They're not hiring people. They're not launching new products. We need to grow the economy, and that's why we need to incentivize the private sector to do that.
But the richest people would get the most out of this,
No,
wouldn't
they will not, because
How would they not?
No, because they will create employment for people. They will create higher wages for everybody.
We are fine for now when he starts saying all this stuff, but I think should be okay.
We've got 500,000 people in Scotland of working age who are not working. We need them to give jobs. We can't give them jobs if they don't grow the economy.
How much of a tax cut would it give you?
It's not relevant to me or anyone.
I'm sure it's relevant to quite a lot of people. How much would you save out
I am
of
not
this?
looking for a tax cut, Colin.
You're giving yourself one.
No, what I want to do is grow the economy by incentivising the people who apparently have got the broadest shoulders, who are shrugging their shoulders right now and saying, why bother? Why bother going the extra mile? Why bother hiring more staff?
Do you resent paying extra tax just now?
I've always paid my tax. I'll happily pay more tax. No, there's not an issue about that. What you need to understand is if you want to raise more tax, Colin, you need to give people an incentive to do that.
So you're talking about saving or cutting tax by 2 billion immediately, pretty much, up to 4 billion almost by the next election again. Where's that coming from? Where's those cuts coming from? That's a lot of money.
So to align the 6 bands back to 3 bands is 1.2 billion, and then every 1p is 850 million. the economy will grow and pay for the second and third cut. The first two, we need to find 2 billion.
Hang on, just to
2
be
billion
absolutely
up front
clear,
is what
you
we
want
need to
to
find.
realign the bands with the rest of the UK. Then you want to cut it by 1p and then ultimately cut it by 3p. That's what you're after.
That's correct.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to save that £4 billion? Where's it coming from?
So the £2 billion that we'll invest, we will take that from the existing Scottish budget, and we've identified where we can take that from.
Where?
Right, we've identified that there's 9 billion that we can take from a combination of environmental protection. Yes. There is economic development, and there's quangos, 6.6 billion of quangos that we can take money from.
Right, so environmental protection, that includes things like the railways. It includes things like spending on things like concessionary bus fares. You're going to cut them.
There's an ideological shopping list amounting to £1 billion that we can cut of ideological green nonsense that needs to be cut out of the budget. That's 1 billion.
Have you identified exactly where this money is coming from?
We have.
What, since this morning when you said that you hadn't gone through it line by line
we haven't gone
to
through
see what you would cut, so you've done it now?
No, we haven't been through the quangos line by line, but the quangos are 6.6 billion.
Which quango are you going to cut?
132
Which quango are you going to cut?
Go on the list and look at the quangos.
Which quango are you going to cut?
So let's take, for example, if you look at our net zero situation, we've got, let's take three. You've got SEPA, you've got the Nature Scotland, and you've got Zero Waste Scotland. Do you know what they do?
Well, I mean, SEPA does a lot of things that you actually can't do without. They are statutory.
There's an overlap between those bodies. There is massive duplication, Colin, that needs to be complete. And we've got a civil service that does these things. We've got a Department for Rural Affairs.
Fraser of Allender, renowned economists, say that it's simply implausible for you to do this without cutting services.
We will not be cutting frontline services. We'll be cutting waste and cutting ideological spending. We'll be cutting taxpayers' money being wasted, Colin.
But you're not able to tell me exactly what you'd cut.
We will be setting this out in detail, but I do know that immediately we can get £1 billion from, say, ideological net zero nonsense, and then we can find £1 billion out of 6.6 billion of quangos.
But it sounds...
So there's no plan.
No plan at all. None whatever.
No plan. Sorry for letting that last for so long. But
no, that's absolutely fine. No, it's important that people realise these people have got nothing. They still haven't got any fucking candidates confirmed either. So, honestly, it's just, there's a saying in Scotland, you might not be aware of it. You know what a pig in a poke is?
I know poking the pig, but
right,
not that.
A pig in a poke means if you go to, say, a farm and you buy a pig, you don't let the farmer just pick one up and put it in a bag and hand it to you, because that's a pig in a poke is a bag, right? So you see it first, because if you get it home, it might have a broken leg or something. So you never buy a pig in a poke. It means you've got to see the goods before you buy. That's it. That's a pig in a poke. And that's what reform is. We don't know the candidates. We still don't even know the leader. We assume it's him. We don't know the policies. We don't know their electoral strategy. Are they going to be for working with SNP? They haven't said. Are they going to be for working with Labour? What are they going to do? Just stand themselves? They keep saying this horse shit about vote reform, you'll get reform. Yeah, right. So it's utter just, it's like blind man's bluff. It's just like try and stick a pin somewhere. It's just an utter joke. Nothing of this is going to work. And you look at him there, he's more uncomfortable in that interview than he's ever been in any facet of his adult life. You can see it. He doesn't have a clue what to say.
That's what I was saying. He's actually getting allowed the interviewer to talk over him and dictate how the conversation is going.
Yep.
And I just say this week, just like Nigel today when he made a stupid apology video about people working at home, which it's just a not realizing reality at this point. It's like, from this, I'm trying to figure out what my country's going to look like. And if this is the party that's supposed to be governing it,
forget it. Seriously, you're right.
Go someone else. Just go somewhere else. Maybe Dubai doesn't look so bad and I can run my Braveheart independence company from there. I don't know.
Very good idea. Indeed. Indeed.
Just works things like that. But that's why I just wanted to show that quickly. Because
you're right.
There's
Because
so much to talk about.
People need to realise there is no magic wand in Scottish politics, believe me, because there are an awful lot of considerations in Scotland. You have to consider, he just said it there, 500,000 people in Scotland aren't working. Those 500,000 people, think about that, that's 500,000 people. That's like the Ibrox Stadium holds 50,000 people,
Mhm.
and it's massive. You look around, that's an awful lot of people. That's 10 times that amount who don't work. They're of working age and they don't work. You tell me we're going to get 500,000 people into work in Scotland. Doing what? Seriously, growing the economy. What the hell does that mean? So cutting income tax is going to mean, my God, we're going to grow the economy. What's this trickle-down economy? They used to laugh at the Conservative Party for talking about trickle-down economics. You know, the idea being that you make the rich a wee bit richer, then that benefit will trickle down to the rest of the economy. But it's the most unfashionable policy, economic policy that there is right now, because nobody thinks it works. So that's it. It's just there's nothing new for Reform. It's just half-baked old Conservative stuff with a little bit of aggression about immigration. That's all it is. It's nothing more. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
And it sucks when you're trying to figure out, oh, is there an opportunity for any young person to do stuff? This is what I was saying on one of the spaces last week. It's like, you need to provide something like a MAGA movement, a MAGA culture, not Trump. Like, people really need to understand tropes, things, ideals, like the whole thing of being caught up. People who are online are more caught up with the people that, you know, live next door, because they're stuck in this little echo space where they see shooting in Minneapolis and they're like, what's that got to do with Mahmoud down the road? Probably nothing to everyone else, but you're like, well, he's allowed to go extremist, don't you know? Because I see his social media account, you know, things like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And there's just, like, I don't even think we're in a position in Scotland to have this culture ready to go. I mean, I want to do better. I want to believe in better, but it's the people that I'm supposed to be trusting to lay things down for, not me, generation below me, all the people that are willing. But the older generations have basically failed us to get an opportunity somewhere. And you're like, oh, that's a bit harsh. Well, every Zoomer thinks it.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So there are people out there. That's the main message. There are people who want to do better, but you got to give them the opportunities.
Absolutely right. And there's no point, there's no point thinking that cutting income tax bans by 1% will immediately grow the economy. That's taken an enormous stretch to think that as soon as you cut income tax levels, then employers will magically start employing more people. I don't really see that, guys, personally. But anyway, okay. Let's see. But I can't see it happening, Frank, personally. Not at all. But
no, because I tried to see that for my own bus company, which I'm going to start crowdfunding if it works. But you know how much it's going to be before I even consider getting something to work?
Go on.
500,000.
Oh, wow. Bloody hell.
Do you have 500,000 just to give me for free?
Tragically not, but there you go. Yeah. I don't imagine it's too much of a surprise, but no.
I'll ask the Germans. They seem to have a bus company up here.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm conscious my phone must be making really annoying beeping noises.
No, that's fine. Off you go.
People are desperate to get hold of me. I don't know what they're going to tell me, but we'll see. Anyway, listen, really appreciate coming on again. Enjoy it very much. Enjoy chatting. We were both got a little bit frustrated and irate tonight, I think, but you can't help it, can you? Really, it means so much to us both. I know. So there you go. Anyway, listen, we'll do it again. I know that stuff that you were asking about that audio thing. Anytime, I'll do that happily. Anytime.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll tell people about that once you go.
Great stuff.
Thank you, everyone, for coming on, and we will see you later on. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. Cheers, everyone.